Okay, cool. So we'll starting the event in a minute. We'll be starting the event in a minute.
We are starting the discussion.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you are on mute, I
Good
guess.
evening, everyone. Welcome to the Placement Bootcamp organized by Communiqué, IIT Kharagpur. We are here to explore the domain of core and FMCG. I'm Avnish, and I'll be hosting this event with my co-host Atharva, representing IIT Kharagpur. We are delighted to have you all for this panel as we discuss the insights required to prepare for a career in core and FMCG.
Also, I would like to tell the audience that the chat box is open for you. Feel free to post any questions or doubts that you have. We'll take up these doubts at the end of the session. Now, without further ado, allow us to introduce our esteemed panelists. First up, we have Mr. Preetham Das, who has successfully secured a placement at JLR. Mr. Preetham, would you please take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi all. I hope you can hear me. I am Preetham Das. I am 2024 graduate from Electronics and Electrical Communications Department of IIT Kharagpur. I have joined JLR in hardware design profile. So what we do in this profile is that basically, if you heard about cars, how they work, there are different electronic control units inside the car. So my job is to design those things, starting from schematic to layout, bring out, then testing, then giving it to the basically full cycle for a hardware engineer, starting from basic schematic level to final product in car. Yeah, that is all for my profile.
Next on our panel, we have Mr. Ayash Kanta Mishra, who has secured a placement at Rakis Marine. Mr. Ayash Kanta, please give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Ayushkant, and like I work as a robotics engineer in Lexi Marine. So our company mainly uh, works on autonomous surface vessels and autonomous underwater vessels, and it's a, I would say, zero level startup. It's just catching up the pace, and I am basically a robotics engineer. So my work includes mechanical side, which involves designing stuff, doing the load analysis, a lot of fluid mechanics, and then on the electronic side, I would say uh, all the circuits, then battery management, power management, and I guess, yeah, that's it.
Along with us, joining us is our final panelist, Ms. Gopi Shravani. She is currently running late. She'll be joining us in a while.
We would like to congratulate you all for your amazing accomplishments. So, without further delay, let us dive right into our discussion.
So the first question is, what are the basic steps in any company's selection for a core role as well as the FMCG role? So could you please provide your insights over this?
Yeah, Pritham, would you like to go for it?
Yeah, sure. So from my perspective, because I am from the ECE department, I can talk about that only. So yeah, for ECE department, there are basically three or four main profiles you can say: analog electronics, digital electronics, like digital domain engineer, analog domain engineer, then embedded engineer. Then these are like three, four main profiles you can say. Out of all these, JLR actually hires for only analog engineer. You might have heard about these profiles named hardware design engineer or e-powertrain engineer, e-powertrain software engineer. So let me tell you about from JLR's perspective. If you are willing to join JLR, in that case, one thing you must be uh, very expert in, that is in analog electronics. So starting from your second year basics, I must tell you, like from basic electronics, network theory, signal systems, it starts from there and is ends at VLSI computer architecture. Other than JLR, if you're looking for any general electronics advice, I must tell you, you should be aware of all those concepts from second year till fourth year. If you're writing it in your resume, you should be familiar with the topic. And obviously, this, along with it, the most easy way to check if you are prepared enough for it is to go for GATE papers. GATE actually has good quality papers, and most of the companies do actually use it for their test preparations and all. The mostly core electronics profiles you'll be sitting in test scene would be following that same EC paper from GATE only, like last 5-10 years. So most basic thing would be for complete your basics, go for GATE level questions. Third is prepare your CV properly. Yeah, that would be most basic things you can do. Yeah, Ashkant can start now.
Yeah, talking about mech, I think mostly there are a few domains. For example, thermodynamics, uh, then solid mechanics, fluids, and I would say some parts of uh, mechanisms like KKOM, if you're aware of about it, and those stuff, dynamics. Those are the basics. But I think most of the companies that come for mechanical core domain, they mostly look for experience along with uh, knowledge. So uh, as much as I can figure out, most of my friends who got placed into core domain, they had a good CV, they had a good bit of experience, and they did their internships. Some of them did it in a research, like they did a research internship, or some of them worked in some automobile companies or something related to core domain. And I would say mostly companies choose candidates uh, on the basis of what they do. For example, FMCG companies, they look for a overall knowledge. So they'll be asking you questions in related to theory. But a lot of companies like Jaguar, my company Rexy Marine, and a lot of other companies, they'll Bajaj, they'll grill you according to your CV, and some other companies like Dr. Reddy Lab, although they do not come for placements, but if they come, they'll be asking you questions from fluids. So more or less that's it. And I would say if you're working from second year onwards, then there's not really much to prepare just before placements. Uh, yeah, because like those basic stuff, if you have attended the classes, you'll be able to revise them within 5 to 10 days, and no one's gonna ask you a long equation or something. So basics, I guess, is more than enough.
That was quite insightful. So, moving on to interviews, what type of questions were you asked during the interview process?
Okay, I can go again, I guess. So for JLR interview, it started with basic analog electronics, like most as simple as BJT, MOSFET, their basic difference, how they work. And once they realized that I am familiar with those, they moved on to bit difficult questions in like feedback circuits, in operational amplifiers, inverting, non-inverting, their usage, comparators. These are like basic analog concepts that one really must be familiar with. Uh, Basically, what I realized is that the JRR does check your basics first. If you're not in good at them, doesn't matter how big of a CPU you have, doesn't matter. So next, they also focused on power electronics. They asked questions from basic buck converters, boost converters, and after that they focused on my CV. I had a few projects they asked from them. Basically, one of the projects was actually kind of similar with what JLR was working on. So that is the point I think they realized that I might be a good fit for it. And JLR actually has one round of interview, honestly, so they don't really much care about HR round. So if you are good with your technical knowledge, if you have a CV that matches the requirement, then you are ready to be selected in JLR. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I talk about Rexy Marine, then this was the first time they were hiring someone. Like it's a very beginner level startup, but I would say we have a lot of funding. Uh, so I'd say an ideal candidate that uh, we are looking for will should be having experience in all the domains, especially practical ones. Like, for example, in robotics, if you want to, you are just taking a lot of different concepts someone has already made and you are just implementing it to make an actual working prototype or a product. So I would say if you have experience in all the domains, as in like hardware experience, not just like sitting in front of a computer, but like for example, uh, if we are building a robot, we have to, like being a mechatronics guy, you have to be familiar with a CAD software to actually make something, and you should have already printed like 3D printed something beforehand so that you have an experience in that. uh, then if you take the part, then you have to assemble all of those to make a big robot or something. Then moving forward, you have to uh, basically know a bit of electronics. Like, for example, I would say your system works on a 24-volt battery, but many of your subsystems would be working on some different voltage level. So, um, as Preetham mentioned, you'll be using either a buck or a boost converter to uh, basically adjust the voltage, and you basically have to uh, be familiar with different products, and uh, like a knowledge base matters a lot. Like it will be very easy for you to catch up if you have already worked on it. So I guess the interview, they did not ask me any technical questions. Mostly it was for my CV, and I would say they asked me a lot of practical scenarios, like what would I be doing in such a scenario if I have to make something. Because in robotics, I'll say debugging is the most prized skill one can have. So if you have worked on this before, you would have already developed a bit of the skill. Yes, sir. That's
Okay, so one small question. What is the role of the CGPA in the interview process?
Well, I guess it's depends more when they are shortlisting candidate for interview. After you're shortlisted, it doesn't matter much. So while selecting from written test to the interview, so they actually look at your CGPA and also how much test you scored. JLR also actually has a kind of metric they use. So out of which there in the metric there are so many parameters. One of them is actually CGPA. So yeah, it's good to have a good CGPA. But if you don't, if you score well, you would get enough opportunities.
Yeah,
That
talking
was
about
a
the go on.
yeah, please, no, please continue.
Talking about the mechanical domain, I would say having a good CGPA is a major boost to your profile. And I would say both kinds of companies exist. Those who look for CGPA and those who look for experience over CGPA. Companies like Jaguar, Ola, I think they prefer a high CG guy, uh, but they also prefer a guy who has a good ample amount of experience. But a lot of different companies exist which value experience over CGPA. So Yeah, both of those like both of the sides exist. So it depends on you. Uh, and you should always pick. If you're going into core domain, you should always pick a job where you'll be interested to do the work. Otherwise, you'll just you'll just get bored after some time, and that's what.
Yeah, so just to give you a benchmark, anyone having a CGPA more than 7.5 or 8, that is, I guess, good enough for jailer. Jailer has been taking guys from 7.8, 7.9, 8, all those guys also. As long as you are giving good interview, that's all that matters, and also good test. The written test matters a lot. Yeah, so if someone is having only 8, you should not be feeling like I don't have enough CGPA, I might not get selected for interviews or not. So that doesn't happen in core companies actually. If you have good test score, then you are all okay for the interview.
So that was a very insightful answer. Moving on to the next question. Yeah. So how should one compensate if he or she does not have an internship from a reputed company in the domain of code?
Yeah, so honestly, having an internship from a reputed company doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that the internship you have done, it should be a good work you have done. You should be able to uh, explain what you have done, and they should make a point like why it is important for your role. As long as it's the work you have done is good enough, it doesn't matter how from where which company you have did it. There are so many profiles, like so many CVs are there. You could basically copy projects from a reputed company, right, from your friend's CV. That happens too many times in KGP, but it doesn't matter as long as you don't explain the thing in the interview. So yeah, rather than focusing on reputed company, just focus on the work you have done. That would be sufficient enough.
Yeah, I would agree with Pritham. uh, People who generally come for interviews, they'll be able to see through you. So if you have copied from someone, then like they'll be able to catch you right away. But yeah, yeah, the internship matters because uh, the work you have done, you should be able to justify it. Uh, if asked, you should be able to explain what challenges you faced and how did you overcome those. So those are like great questions that can be asked in a core interview. And yeah, I guess more or less Pritham covered those points.
So as Mr. Pritham said that internships like are a thing that can be caught if you copy and things like that. So what should be the thing that should be highlighted if not internship? So like if you say project, so what project should students do or what project should they study right now to match that level of internships or knowledge that is required?
Okay, so if you're asking like somebody is going for core profile who wasn't sure about it, like he doesn't have enough projects in his CV. One thing for sure is that if he's from electronics background, he would be having lots of course projects. Like electronics department in EC actually does have a good amount of projects that he can add in his CV. Other than that, I mean, obviously in his fourth year, somebody should be working in his BTP and all. So I don't think there is a scarcity of project that he one can add in his CV. As long as it is a meaningful one, there is nothing to worry about. I mean, even if the number of projects is less, that is also okay. Out of 10 projects, if you have one good one that matches the company's requirement, that is all they need. They don't care about the rest 9. So that is same for the guy who having 5 projects or 10 projects. That single project matters. So that is same for projects or internship. Honestly, a resume, whenever a person from company is seeing a resume, it doesn't focus on project or internship. Like he focuses on the work you have done in any one of them. Yeah, I guess you can add more here.
Yeah, I would agree. Like more or less, the interview is centered on a single project or something. So, like basically everything revolves around that. If you have a good, even if you have a like a single good project, I guess like it will cover up for all the rest of the things. And like I would also like to mention a point. People don't generally randomly wake up and say that I will go for a core job. So more or less, people who choose for a like who sit for core jobs, they have a decent amount of work done in the core field. So I guess it should not be a problem if you want, like, if someone is not getting uh, enough content to fill the CV. I don't think that's the case. But yeah, more or less everything should help. And your BTP is an excellent compensator for everything. And if you're a dual degree guy, then I don't think uh, you have something that you fall short of.
Regarding, as you said, the dual degree program. So, is there any factor that companies see for core companies see that they do prefer the students who have dual degree, who have MTech in any specialization?
Okay, yes, that's an unfair thing. I don't know. Maybe it is fair from company's perspective, but yes, uh, electronics core profile has seen this thing for many years. I mean, I have seen it. My seniors have seen it. I'm pretty sure this year also will see it. That most big companies, like, I'm not sure if I want to allowed to mention those names, but yeah, there are some companies who genuinely do prefer MTech students. JLR doesn't has any such criteria. I mean, I was selected, I was VTech, so yeah, but there are other companies who do prefer MTech students. Yeah, you have to be aware of it and don't get upset of it. It is reality.
Yeah, same goes for Mac. But a lot of popular companies that you might be aware of, they mostly, I would say, choose BTech over MTech. But if you are a MTech like dual degree guy, I don't think there's a like setback. This is a setback for you because most of the companies also take like those companies also uh, take dual degree guys. Like it's mostly a mix of them. But the advantage for a dual degree guy would basically be that extra year. Is that extra year? So if you have a extra year, like a extra year at your hand, then you will be able to do a lot of projects which a BTech might not be able to fit in his tight schedule. So that gives an advantage to a dual degree candidate. But more or less, I would say in the Mac domain, uh, like it's scattered. You do not have to worry about this point if you are a BTech or a dual degree. Because some companies I know, for example, Mercedes, they do not open for BTech guys, but which the companies that open for BTech guys, they mostly take a mix of both.
Yeah, just wanted to add that is same for electronics also actually. I mean, those companies who don't want BTech, generally they don't open profile for BTech. So if they have open profile for BTech, mostly they will be selecting from BTech also. You just have to score well in the test. That's it.
Which MTech specialization is, more preferred? Which subject in the branch is best as of now for MTech?
For electronics, honestly, there is none. Unless you are looking for a particular profile that matches with your MTech specialization, that might be a thing. Like you might not find exactly same profile coming from many companies, but if you're open for it, I mean, most of the companies do open for all those MTech profiles. There is no specific priority given to any profile, any MTech.
Yeah, I would also agree. Uh, like, but people in Mech generally take a dual degree in either design or I guess manufacturing, and most of the companies open in these domains only. Like either it is automobile or something related to manufacturing. So uh, I would say just go with uh, like there isn't an advantage if you uh, like obviously if you're taking a thermal specialization, then uh, like even though people do not choose it, but I think there are very few companies, or I can't recall any which open like which comes for these profiles. But uh, rest apart, like uh, all the I would say all the other dual degrees, they have a fair ground, a level field.
That was a very insightful answer. So now, as we see in our campus, that the core profile, like people prefer many other profiles, right? Like HD or the non-tech side. So, what motivated you to go for core? What was your like thinking process, and like what exactly made you go for this profile? If you could share, if you could spread some light on this.
Yeah, so for me, I actually never was in kind of dilemma if I should go for software or core. I don't know, somehow I was ready for it. Maybe because in my second year I joined a research group in campus. Maybe that was the reason also. Like I did some work and I felt like I'm doing the right thing. Then I just went for it. I did more projects in this profile, more projects in electronics, digital, analog, embedded. Soon I realized, okay, this is what I would like to do for my as in work, right? That is what I'm doing. And right now also never felt like I should have chosen any other profile. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say I have been working in this field since the since my second year. Even though like I was not part of any research group, but I was working under a professor since my second year beginning, and I also did a research internship, like a foreign research internship. So I think that was a major plus point in my profile, and yeah, I would say that's it.
We have Miss Gopi Shravani with us. Miss Gopi, could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hello guys, I'm Gopi Shavni. I've done my dual degree in industrial and systems engineering, and apart from that, I've gotten an opportunity to work as a ULIP intern in HUL, and currently I'm placed in ITC. Any questions that you want to throw at me?
Sure. So, like we were going over this question. So how should one compensate if he or she does not have an internship from a reputed company in the, let's say, FMCG profile? So, what should the candidates do to tackle that?
Right. So I have seen many a cases where people have not done interns in, let's say, HOL or ITC or whatever reputed firms that you conceive the notion of, but they still have managed to get a better placement in this particular sector, which is by doing relevant projects. So let's say if you're from mechanical or if you're from industrial, and if you want to delve into this sector, so it is always better to look at operations related projects or optimization related projects that your department professors might already be delving into. So it is better you talk to them and see if you can do something about it. And yeah, that's about projects that can be done with the help of professors. Again, self projects is always a good option. And if you have decent PORs which are justifiable, that will also add up. So don't have this notion ki only if you've done reputed internships, only then you'll be having a chance.
That was quite insightful. What was your motivation to join FMCG?
Right. Thanks for the question. I also ask myself this thing quite sometimes. So, right. I was, as I told you, I'm from industrial and systems engineering, and the basics and the core subjects that we were always being taught were revolving around industries and optimization. And I thought that given that there are plethora of options, let's say product or consult or finance or software as well. I've tried my hands on everything, trust me. And I know you guys might also be baffled at this time that what should you be doing. But I felt that my core has become strong eventually as I got into you know go deeper into the subjects and see where that can be applied. Then I thought that this is it, maybe I should give it a chance. And I've gotten opportunities for doing internships and projects, so that is how I knew that this will definitely be my cup of tea. So if you are also someone who's interested in real life projects on ground projects, then I think this will always be a better option for you. And if you want to optimize stuff, or if you're into operations, etc., then I think this is always a better option for you.
That is quite a good answer. Miss Gopi, could you please switch on your video?
Actually the connection is little poor here, so I don't think if I'll on the camera I might not be able to see you guys, or maybe the audio system will also be little uh, constricted. So
No issues. Let's move on to the next question. So, coming to work life now, what is the environment in your company like? Please tell us a bit about its work culture and type of work and about the role you got placed into.
should I take this question, or the other panelists have already spoken?
Uh, you can start with it.
All right. So the environment. Okay, for one thing that I can tell you, that this sector won't keep you seated in one place. I have traveled over to 6 new places over last 2 months. So you'll not be sitting in a same place and then complaining about your job or your boss. That won't be it. You'll have to keep traveling places. And currently, I'm positioned in Haridwar factory as an AUT. So the environment is quite good. It won't be like, it won't be very monotonous, that I can say definitely. It will be very challenging and it will be very interesting as well, because factory will have people who have been working since more than your age. So you'll find people who are like really, really walking libraries, walking examples of whatever you've studied all these years, right? So it's definitely the best way to learn, and they're all helpful. Trust me. I've seen that in HUL, I've seen that in ITC, I've spoken to peers from PNG, whatever, across many industries, right? So people are most helpful, and you learn things by being on ground. Trust me. सो इट वोंट बी दैट अच्छे से बैंगलोर में मतलब बैठे हो, काम चल रहा है, वीकेंड आ रहा है, लॉन्ग वीकेंड घूमने जा रहे हो, ऐसा नहीं होगा, एटलीस्ट फॉर सम इयर्स इनिशियली. तो फैक्ट्री में ही मतलब इनिशियली इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर टू लर्न फ्रॉम फैक्ट्रीज एंड पीपल who have been working in factories. So that will be it.
Mr.
Maybe I can
Preetham,
go
would you
next.
like to? Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
So JLR, as such, I don't think only for JLR. I mean, any other company in this profile, I believe it is pretty decent, normal, and not so adventurous job. I mean, uh, it's basic 9 to 5 and 5 days a week. Obviously, in JLR, actually, depending upon the team you are assigned to, the timing of your work will change. Basically, the JLR itself has around 50,000 employees. Out of them, only 600 or 700 in Bangalore, like us, who are all selected from like IITs and all. So if you are allocated an Indian team, then you would be working like any Indian time. If you are assigned any UK team or USA team or Hungary team, then you have to work based depending upon their whatever fits your team basically. So you will be starting work on second half and continuing till 6 p.m. 8 p.m. depending upon whatever they are given you. But in JLR, honestly, there is no such daily. I mean, it's not like you have to come to office any particular time. You have to leave at a particular time. It depends upon whatever work they are given, how how you are doing it, and if you've done your job, then you can leave anywhere anytime you want. And it's basically for us right now there is no such thing as traveling as such. But once you are a senior employee, most of the work is done in UK Gaydon. Otherwise there are Tata partners also who are involved in this whole projects, and so you get to travel outside India and mostly in UK and Hungary, all these things. So other than that, I guess it's simple, decent, not so challenging job. Yeah, if you're looking for it, then it's good.
Yeah, talking about the mech side, most of the companies have a have a good schedule for their employees, like 9 to 5 basically. But I'd say my company being a startup, it's a bit different. Uh, like I have been uh, in the office for the entire night as well, and like mostly my work involves somewhere around 10 to 12 hours daily. But uh, I'm confident that it will change soon because this is a very emerging field, robotics especially. There aren't a lot of people who uh, there aren't a lot of people who are into this domain throughout the country. So let's say there's a shortage of people, but you would be able to this domain is basically catching up in India. So if you stick into a stick in a company for a longer period of time, then you'll like see a career growth that's like not comparable to any other company. But I'd say the working hours are a bit trash, but yeah, it'll like eventually settle down. And I'd also like to say by the time you join, uh, my company will be having a decent working schedule.
So that was a very beautiful answer. Now moving on to the next question. What were some of the mistakes that you think you made during your placement season, or things that you realized later that could have been better, could have been done in a better way? Miss Gopi, would you like to go first?
Sure. So during the starting phase where I've gotten to know that okay, I'll be sitting for placements for sure, I was little anxious because given the placement season and given the markets were going so down. We were getting news like इस campus में consult नहीं आ रहा है, हमारे campus में बेन BCG का scene नहीं पता है, and all of that, haphazard was going outside. So given that I've also tried my hands on SDE, I've done the same mistake during my intern as well. Though my profile for management was quite strong, be it product or consult or FMCG. So I've wasted some time there. So I would say if your profile is quite good for management, don't do this mistake. If you believe that you can make it out, then please don't put your hands on a lot of things that are not adjacent. But uh, you can try out adjacent profiles like product, FMCG consult, or consult finance, these kinds of things. But don't uh, throw stones on things that are not even adjacent to each other. That is what I would say.
So first of all, what Gopi mentioned, like first decide your profile. Once you are done that and you decided core is your profile and that is electronics, then the most basic thing that one must do is go through the basic topics that I mentioned in the first half of the interview. So that is one thing that I think I might have done wrong. That I couldn't focus on more practicing on those things. Like obviously revising is one thing, and then practicing with proper times and all. So that is one more important thing. So one way to do that would be using gate papers, obviously, like the past 10-15 years. If you can go through all of them, and obviously if you can do it in proper time, that is better. Other than that, I think that is one mistake that I might have done in my placement time. I couldn't practice as much as I should have. So yeah, other than that, if you are also CV building is a one important thing. If you're writing something, please be sure you would know about it. I mean, based upon whoever comes to take the interview, you don't know at which particular point he is expert. So he will just ask you anything from anywhere of your CV. If he finds there's something is there you are not so confident in, that would be like a negative point. And that doesn't matter how much you do well in other parts. So please be ready for that. Whatever you write in your CV, don't just write it to make your CV long or to look good. Just be confident on everything you write. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd also like to mention some points. Uh, I would say don't be over complacent and like brush up the basics. For example, in mech, it's thermodynamics, fluids, and a bit of solids, and a bit of machines, all those things. So I think basics will mostly uh, like yeah, it'll carry you completely. They won't be obviously they won't be asking a big ass formula to you in the interview, but yeah, basics is more than enough to get you through. But you also need a bit of experience in this domain. And see, people often get demotivated by the package a lot of companies offer. But I would say if you are see a lot of these domains are very niche in itself. So if you are one of those who are like one among very few going into this domain, then like you're destined to get a very like good outcome out of this. So like don't get disheartened by the initial starting salary or something. But like yeah, just be good in what you do and yeah, don't throw stones everywhere. Like it's a concentrate on a single domain during the placements. And I have seen a lot of friends. Yeah, like this is a point that should be talked more about. People are very desperate during that phase. Like uh, it's natural because you see your friends getting placed in some company and you aren't. So you'll get anxious and you'll just like try randomly whatever company is available. You go for those. But later on, I'll say many of my friends. I've seen a lot of cases where people regret taking a job just due to that anxiousness. But like just hold your horses down and be very patient during that phase. It's a very difficult phase, but like it will teach you a lot of sense. Because in core company, if you do not enjoy the job, then you'll later on regret taking the offer. That should not be the case.
That was quite insightful. So, what advice do you have for someone who is targeting to get into your company?
Mr. Preetham, would you like to answer this question?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So, what advice should I give you if someone is targeting JLR? Well, JLR has many profiles depending upon which profile you are looking for. One thing JLR actually does focus on, irrespective of all the profiles, that is a basic DSA that you should be aware of. By DSA, I mean the PDS level knowledge is as I mean that's good enough. If you're not looking for software profile, if you're going for mechatronics or uh, hard, electronics hardware, any other non-software profile, that is good enough. But you should be aware of simple data structures. And next, if it is electronics profile, I think I have mentioned this twice or thrice, please go through the basics. Basics is more important than your CV experience, than your advanced level projects. So don't mess up there. Next, uh, if you have a good CV, please do be confident about it. Doesn't matter how much complex questions they ask, they don't expect much from you, because you are obviously graduating from college right now. So whatever you have done, just be confident about it and try to uh, make sense why it is important for that profile. Yeah. Just focus on the basics, that is most important. Yeah, that's it from my side for JLR, I guess.
Yeah, for my company, I would say uh, experience matters over everything else, because, like, if you talk about any startup, uh, people working, like, the number of people working is very less. So you have got to be good in what you do. It's not always that, obviously you'll be working in a team, but it's not that you will be assigned tasks as a group. So you will be assigned your task, and you might be the only one who has knowledge to carry out those. So I don't think there's an escape if you are just trying to get through. But yeah, I'd say if you have a decent amount of experience in any field, be it mech, be it software, we might be coming for software domain as well this year. Be it any field, that will be very helpful, because yeah, robotics is a very interdisciplinary domain. So you have people uh, working in here who belong to the software domain, who are from electronics, who are from uh, mechanical, or who are from AIML. So you have, like, it has place for everyone. So I'd say be good at anything you like. It's your choice, and rest apart, there shouldn't be a problem.
That was a very interesting answer. Now, moving on to the next segment that we have, the questions from the audience. So we'll just open the chat box and read the question one by one, uh, and please do address the doubts of the audience.
Okay, so one question is from Yuvraj V. How much package can we expect in core industries?
Okay, again, I guess that will depend upon which core industry you're looking for. In electronics, I would say it can start from 15 LPA to it will go up to 30 also, depending upon which company you're choosing. So there are, I mean, obviously the base salary and all breakup will be different, but overall CTC, it would go up to till 30, 35 LPA.
Yeah, I'd say the same for mechanical side as well. You have companies like Ola offering a lot. Uh, a lot of FMCG companies which offer over the north of 30 lakhs, but there are companies as well uh, which offer somewhere around 5, 6, 7 lakhs. But on an average, you'll be getting a pack. You can expect a package of around 18 to 23, 24 lakhs. For, like, if you have confidence that you'll get into this profile, you can expect these.
Thank you for the answer. Moving on to the next question from the audience. Is it good for the placements with good projects but CGPA less than 7.5? Mr. Pritham, would you like to answer this
Yeah,
question?
sure. Again, I can say the same. As long as you're crossing, first of all, you have to cross the cutoff, whatever they're given for test and all. If you're crossing, that is mostly 6.5 or 6. If you have crossed that, the most important thing, if you have less than 7.5 or somewhere around, most important thing for you would be to focus on tests. You have to score as much as possible. Then if your score and good enough, I don't think there is anything to worry about. I mean, once you go to the interview phase, they don't really look at your CGPA anymore. It will all depend upon the interview you will give. So yeah, the most uh, difficult thing if you have less CGP would be to cross those tests, and only way to basically ace them is study your basics, practice more questions, score well, then you are good to go.
Yeah, I'd also agree. Uh, you guys might have heard about CV spikes. So basically, something should be there which compensates your your weaker side. If you have a low SEG, you should be having a decent I would say more than decent experience, uh, like in projects or in the form of projects or internships, to compensate those. And once you get through the test, like every company has a cutoff which generally lies around 8 or 7.5 even in a lot of cases. But if you once you get through, you should everything is on you. So if you have a good profile, then it's a good profile as in a lot of experience, then it becomes very easy for you to uh, at least smoothly go through the interviews. And rest, if your field matches with the company's requirements, then I don't think there's any issue related to CGPA or something for them to take you.
That was quite insightful. We have one more question from Yuvraj Veer. Before applying for the job, will they reveal their CPC or we will come to know about it during the HR round only?
No, for IITs in general, also KGP, when all the companies come, they basically first thing they declare is their CTC. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Obviously, the whole breakup you might not know, but yeah, they will definitely tell you how much is the base pay and how much is the CTC.
Yeah, it's more or less the same. Companies never had the CTC from, so yeah, don't be scared about that.
So now the next questions that we have is for written test, where should we study from? Could you please share the study resources for the tests?
Okay, yes. So for electronics, I mean, all the courses you have gone through in your, if you are from electrical or electronics, you must have gone through all the basics already. Just if you have the notes, I mean, obviously there must have been some toppers who have noted down all the notes that you have used in your mid 7 and sims. The same notes you can go through again. This is for revision only. For practice, as I mentioned, gate papers last 10-15 years. Also, you can Google stuffs also like Texas Instruments, NVIDIA, JLR, Qualcomm, IBM, all those companies have questions available online. So many people having, I mean, also in YouTube's also you could, if you are looking for any specific company, please search for it. You will find definitely lots of videos talking about how to crack that particular company, particular profile. So yeah, that is how you'd study for questions.
Yeah, I also agree. Mostly companies have a specific set of questions, and more or less it's available online. Uh, and but if you want to be quite thorough, then you can obviously ask someone who's in that company currently working. They'll be able to provide you a very good insight about what specific topics a company their company asks in the form of a written note. Other than that, I think yeah, more or less basics. If you brush up, then should be good enough. If you do not have a specific, if you do not get a specific topic to study from, then you can just brush up your basics. And I think on Google, everything's available. Like if you search the company name, you'll get a lot of questions. It's in itself.
That was quite a good answer. We have one more question. from Venugopal Venkat. He is asking how to get a research intern in our college.
Okay, I can answer that, but I'm not sure if it is helping you right now if you're looking for placement. So for research internship, um, there are so many ways. First of all, there are research programs. Okay, so can you clarify if he's looking for research internship inside KGP or is it outside KGP?
He's looking for a research intern inside IIT.
Okay, in that case, definitely the profile you are looking for, you have to find professors that work on those profiles. If you're from electronics background, if you're looking for analog or digital or VLSI or any any other relevant topics, communications, signal processing, so all those things in KGP, EC, IIT KGP website, there are so many professors listed. Also from computer science department and also from EE department, there is also a ATDC department, right? Advanced Technology Development Center. People there work in embedded systems and all. So if you're interested, basically you have to go to that particular website, look at the professor's profiles, get in touch with him, mail him or directly meet him after the class or go to his office, tell him that you are interested, make a good argument why he should give a good project to you. If you are really interested, then the professor generally have open positions for interns all the time. And if you are from KGP, then you would definitely get a project if you are really interested. Yeah, so that's how you approach. Basically, first find the professors, approach them, tell them that you're interested, then start doing it. That's it.
Yeah, getting a research internship in KGP is not a very difficult task. You just need to go to the prof and just asking for a research internship, and 90% of the time he'll be happy to give you one. And once you bag a research, like once you get a research internship going inside the campus, and I see a lot of people from second, third year as well. So once you go into that, then uh, like uh, as you progress, you should be able to uh, get a lot of more research internships, like in abroad as well. Just using this one, so like it's a progressive thing. So it's not that difficult to get a research internship in KG, or even if I speak about it in other IITs as well. IITs, IISc, and people also do research internships in IIMs. So I don't think it's a very difficult thing. Like you just need to go for it.
That was very insightful answer. Next question we have is, out of all the guys in mechanical department, how many get placed in the core?
Uh, yeah, I think the number of jobs are quite limited in the core domain, and people are generally not that interested in the domain as well. So I would say like a lot of companies come. There isn't a doubt, but like a guy who's specifically aiming for a core job, it's very rare that he does not get placed in any company. So see, that there's like shortage of jobs.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think you were not audible to the audience. Could you please repeat the answer you just said?
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
now you're audible.
Okay. So yeah, you might have heard about this thing that there's a shortage of jobs, but those really come from people who are targeting other domains and then like just casually sit for placements in the domain and don't get.
I think Mr. Akash Mehta got disconnected. So let's move on to the next question. Yuvraj B is asking, if I'm a student of mechanical engineering and doing a minor in ECE, can I appear in ECE core industries?
Yes, actually, most of the companies do allow students with ECE specialization. Mostly, yes.
Uh, Up next question we have, what kind of questions should we expect from the HR round?
Okay, so first of all, I don't have enough experience in HR round because Jailer didn't had any. But from my experience, from my discussion with other friends, I can tell you mostly they deal around like why you should join this company, why do you think you are good for this, then what is your experience. They might give you some scenario, then you have to explain how you would resolve those problems, conflicts in the scenario. Also, if you have mentioned any leadership positions in your CV or resume, they might ask you how did you basically have you faced any problems during your tenure as that particular pure holder. So that's the most basic things. Maybe, yeah, or maybe he can answer more, I guess.
Okay, sorry. Can you? Uh, I think we
Yes,
got.
I'll just repeat the question.
Sure.
Yeah. So the question was, what kind of questions should we expect from HR round?
Dude, HR really do not care about your profile. They just want to know how much committed you are. So uh, like they like other than that, I think every company has takes a pride. Uh, so the HR might be asking you questions from their like related to their companies. So like doing a bit of background research about the company should be good enough. Like no one's gonna uh, reject you just on basis of the HR round. If they've already selected you in the technical round, then they're most likely to get through. Yeah, that's it.
Uh, Thanks a lot for answering the doubts from the audience. There are no more questions from the audience, but we would like you to add some insights or some point that you think we missed and the audience must know regarding the core field. If you could add some insights, some five points, you know.
Yeah, honestly, we have discussed a lot. I don't think there is anything special that I we missed. But in general, if you're looking for electronics profile, please again go through the basics. Uh, make a justifiable resume. Do like prepare questions. I mean practice questions. That's it. I mean extra out of that, there is nothing out of the box you have to do. Just be confident about it and don't worry too much about your CGPA. There would be like so many companies opening for low CG, high CG. Basically, it doesn't matter as long as you're good in your experience and basic knowledge. So yeah, that is like a general advice I should give.
Yeah, on top of that, I'd like to uh, like focus on a specific point. Don't wave your hands everywhere. Uh, like select a specific domain to set for in the placements, and once you choose that, like be focused for it. So if you have like uh, if you are sitting for software, like just focus on that. You'll be able to get a job. That won't be an issue. If you're focusing for the core domain, just stick to that. Like I haven't seen anyone who is planning to get a core job but hasn't. So there's very few people. Like I don't think there's a lot of people in this this case. And it's a difficult time, so like uh, take a time out as well in between. Don't get stressed out by seeing others getting a job or something. Just take a chill pill. You'll get everyone like takes that like everyone goes through that phase. So like at the end either you win or you learn. So it's a win-win situation.
Thanks a lot for your valuable insights. So, Janta, this is the end of our session. You all are free to disperse. Just a small announcement before that. Tomorrow we'll be focusing on finance profile. So, Janta, let's meet again tomorrow to get some fun day on the finance profile. Thank you very much and see you all.
Bye guys.
No, thanks guys for organizing it. It was
Bye
fun.
bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Me too. Me too. Thank you.